Have you ever looked at a guy and thought, wait, does he like me? 1 minute, he's giving you intense eye contact, remembering tiny details you barely mentioned, and suddenly, cold silence. No texts, no words, just confusion. But here's the truth no one tells you. Men don't always express desire in words. In fact, the more he wants you, the harder it might be for him to admit it. Why? Because desire makes people vulnerable. And vulnerability, that's terrifying, especially for someone who's been taught to hide his feelings his entire life. Right now, there could be someone in your life who's burning with attraction for you, but he'll never say it out loud. Instead, he'll show it. And unless you know what to look for, you'll miss every single sign. In this video, we're diving deep into 5 hidden signs he wants you badly, but is too afraid to admit. These aren't cliche dating tips. These are subtle, psychology-backed behaviors men unconsciously show when they're trying to suppress real feelings. So if you've ever felt confused over analyzing his every move or second-guessing your intuition, stay exactly where you are, because by the end of this video, you'll have crystal clear clarity, and maybe even realize someone's been wanting you more than you ever imagined. Let's get into the truth he's been too afraid to say. Let's decode what he's been hiding from you. So here's the question almost every woman has asked herself at some point. If he likes me, why won't he just say it? Why does he act like he's into me 1 minute and then shut down or pull away the next? Why the mixed signals? The answer might not be what you expect, because it's not about you, it's about him. Most men are never really taught how to process or express vulnerability. From a young age, they're told to stay composed, hide emotion, and never let their guard down. So when a man feels genuine attraction, especially the kind that shakes him up, it triggers something deep of fear. Yes, fear. Not fear of you, but fear of what those feelings mean. Fear of losing control. Fear of rejection. Fear of coming on too strong and ruining something that matters. If he just sees you as a fun distraction, he might be bold and flirt openly. But if he sees you as different, as someone who actually matters, he hesitates. He pulls back, overthinks, and plays it safe. This isn't game playing, it's self-protection. He may worry you'll think he's weird, too intense, or worse, desperate. So instead of telling you he wants you, he'll watch you from across the room. He'll make excuses to talk to you, but never go deeper. He'll light up when you laugh, then go cold when you look too closely. And you're left thinking, is he into me or not? Here's what's really happening. The stronger his feelings are, the more pressure he feels to keep them hidden. He doesn't want to be exposed emotionally, so he expresses desire in small, safe ways that you might miss unless you know what to look for. That's where we're going next. Because no matter how well he hides his words, his body, his behavior, his energy around you, that's where the truth slips through. Coming up, we're going to break down the first major sign that reveals his attraction, even if he thinks he's hiding it perfectly. You're about to see how his body betrays his feelings every single time, even if his mouth stays silent. Let's get into it. You don't need to be a mind reader to know if a man is into you. You just need to watch his body. Because even when his words are neutral or guarded, his body language will betray what he's really feeling. This is the first hidden sign he wants you badly, and chances are he's not even aware he's doing it. When a man is drawn to you, his body automatically shifts into attraction mode. He'll face you directly, even if his feet or shoulders have to adjust slightly. He'll lean in just a bit more when you speak. Not obviously, but enough to close the space between you. And if he's standing, you might notice him squaring up, trying to appear taller, broader, more present. It's instinctual. Subtle posture changes are his brain's way of saying, look at me. Then there's the eye contact. This one is big. A man who wants you will often hold eye contact a second or two longer than normal. Not creepy, not forced, but just long enough to feel electric. And if you catch him staring when you're not looking, that's not a coincidence. It's a quiet moment of admiration he didn't think you'd notice. Touch is another giveaway. Not necessarily bold moves, but small innocent touches that seem to just happen. A brush on your arm, a hand on your back when you're walking through a crowd, or even the way he positions himself closer to you in a group. These aren't accidents, they're subconscious attempts to connect, to be near you without crossing a line. You'll also see shifts in his nervous energy, fidgeting, adjusting his clothes, running a hand through his hair. These little things are classic signs of someone who's suddenly more aware of how they're being perceived. And they almost always show up when he's in front of someone he really likes. What makes this so powerful is that it's hard to fake. Words can be calculated, But body language is spontaneous. If he's showing these signs around you, especially when he thinks you're not paying attention, it's a strong, undeniable signal that he feels something deeper. He might never say it, but his body already has. Coming up next, we're going to unpack a feeling he really can't hide. Jealousy. Jealousy is one of the clearest signs a man wants you, even if he'll never admit it. But here's the twist. Most guys won't show jealousy the way you expect. He's not going to throw a tantrum, make dramatic statements, or tell you outright that he doesn't like you talking to someone else. Instead, he'll disguise it. He'll try to mask it with logic, humor, or indifference. But the shift in energy, that's what gives him away. Watch what happens when another guy enters the picture. Maybe it's a coworker, a mutual friend, or even just a random person who compliments you in front of him. Does his body stiffen? Does he suddenly go quiet or try to change the subject? Does he throw a light-hearted jab at the other guy or make a joke that doesn't quite land? These aren't random reactions. These are micro-expressions of jealousy he doesn't know how to process because he doesn't feel entitled to express it. He might also act a little cooler around you afterward, not angry, just slightly withdrawn. He'll pretend he's fine, but he'll seem a little more distant. That's not because he's no longer interested. It's the opposite. That little flare of jealousy reminded him that someone else could have your attention, and that thought stings, especially when he hasn't built up the courage to tell you how he feels. Pay attention to how protective he becomes too. If you mention a guy you're texting, or if someone flirts with you in front of him, does he try to downplay it or give advice that sounds logical but carries a weird emotional undertone? That's his attempt to steer you away without revealing why he cares so much. He may also suddenly want more of your time and attention after one of these moments. It's like a wake-up call. That jealousy sparks a sense of urgency. It reminds him that if he stays quiet, he could lose his chance. So he starts showing up more, texting more, making little lets to get close again, without ever mentioning what really triggered the shift. And here's the key. Jealousy is involuntary. He can't control it, especially when it's about you. It exposes a level of emotional investment that no amount of cool guy behavior can fully cover up. He may try to laugh it off, change the subject, or act like he's above it, but underneath, there's a part of him that's screaming, "I wish that was me getting your attention." So the next time you notice a change in his tone, his mood, or his vibe after you talk about another guy, don't ignore it. That's not just moodiness, that's his desire slipping through the cracks, even if he's doing everything he can to keep it hidden. Up next, we're diving into something even more telling than jealousy: when he remembers the tiniest things you say without even realizing it. Let's talk about how his memory gives him away. One of the most overlooked but deeply revealing signs a man wants you badly is how well he remembers the small things you say. Not the big obvious stuff like your job or your birthday, but the little throwaway comments you didn't even realize you made. The tiny details that most people forget 5 minutes later, he holds on to them, and he does it without even trying. Maybe you casually mentioned your favorite snack, or how you always wanted to visit a specific city. Maybe you told him your mom's name once, or a random story about something that happened to you in second grade. A guy who isn't emotionally invested might nod and move on. But a guy who's genuinely drawn to you, he stores that information, almost like it's instinct, because to him, you matter. And so does everything connected to you. You'll notice it in the way he brings those things up later, sometimes weeks or months after you said them. You'll be talking about something totally unrelated, and suddenly he'll say, "Wait, isn't that the flavor you love? Or didn't you say your sister had that same experience?" It can catch you off guard because it's so subtle and thoughtful, and it tells you one thing: he's paying attention. What's even more telling is how naturally it shows up in conversation. He's not trying to impress you. He's not making a grand gesture. He's just remembering, because when a man is emotionally tuned into someone, the details stick. Your words don't just go in one ear and out the other. They linger, because to him, they're your words, and that makes them meaningful. Sometimes this shows up in actions too. You might mention offhand that you've been stressed about work, and the next day he sends a funny meme or playlist to help you relax. You may have once said your favorite color is navy, and weeks later he shows up wearing a navy shirt when he knows he'll see you. These aren't coincidences. These are quiet ways of showing he sees you, hears you, and wants to connect on a deeper level, even if he's not saying it outright. Remembering the little things is a powerful emotional indicator. It means he's not just physically attracted to you, he's invested in who you are beyond the surface. He's curious about your world, your thoughts, your feelings, because somewhere inside, he's hoping to be part of it. And the best part, he likely doesn't even realize he's doing it. That's why it's so genuine. He's not trying to score points or win you over. He just cares. And when a man cares deeply, the details don't slip through the cracks, they stay with him. Coming up, let's look at another subtle but revealing sign. When he's constantly around and doesn't even seem to know why. There's a certain kind of presence a man has when he wants you. One that he doesn't fully understand himself. He's just there, around you, near you, frequently. And the more you start noticing it, the more obvious it becomes. He shows up at the same event. He's suddenly into the things you're into. He hangs out in spaces you occupy, even if he doesn't need to be there. This kind of behavior isn't loud or obvious. In fact, to most people, it probably just looks like coincidence. But to you, it starts to feel patterned. You find yourself thinking, why is he always here? Maybe he lingers longer after group hangouts, always seems to be walking by your desk at work, or finds random reasons to message you throughout the week. He might not even be saying anything flirty, but his presence becomes consistent, familiar, almost predictable. The reason? He's pulled toward you in a way that he hasn't quite admitted to himself. And being near you, even without talking about feelings, gives him something he craves. Connection, comfort, closeness. You might notice that when you're in a room together, he positions himself somewhere nearby, not necessarily right next to you, but within reach. He might not always engage first, but he's observing, quietly investing in your energy. Sometimes he'll create excuses to interact with you. He might ask a question he already knows the answer to, or mention a random thing just to start a conversation. Other times he won't say much at all. He'll just be present. But his body language will tell the story. He turns towards you when you speak, finds reasons to stay when everyone else is leaving, and lights up when you enter the room. He's not doing this to play it cool. He honestly might not even realize he's doing it. That's what makes it so revealing. It's instinctive. When a man is drawn to someone emotionally and physically, proximity becomes addictive. Being near you makes him feel more alive, more connected and more frustrated, because he can't quite figure out what to do with those feelings. If you've noticed this kind of pattern where he's constantly finding ways to exist in your orbit, it's a strong sign that he wants you. Not for attention, not out of boredom, but because something about you pulls him in. Even if he hasn't admitted it to himself yet, his behavior is already exposing the truth. And in the next section, you'll see one of the most emotionally charged signs of all. What happens when his behavior completely shifts just because you walked into the room. One of the clearest signs a man wants you badly, but won't admit it, is how his energy completely changes when you walk into the room. And it's not always in the ways you'd expect. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes dramatic, but either way, something shifts. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel it. Watch how he interacts with others when you're not around, then compare it to how he acts when you suddenly appear. Does his voice change? Does he suddenly go quiet or maybe louder? Does he seem more aware of himself, like he's measuring his words or adjusting his posture? These little shifts are huge indicators that your presence affects him on a deeper level. Often he'll either become more animated, trying to impress, telling more jokes, leading conversations, or he'll do the opposite and become a little more reserved, almost nervous. That internal tension comes from trying to manage how you see him. He wants to appear confident, interesting, maybe even a little mysterious. But because he cares what you think, he starts to overthink every move. That's not just attraction, that's emotional weight. He may also start doing things he normally wouldn't, just because you're there helping out more. Volunteering for something, suddenly becoming the fixer in the group, or offering to do things no one asked for. He wants to be useful around you, to stand out without being obvious. It's his quiet way of saying, notice me, without actually saying it. Pay attention to how his friends behave too. Sometimes when a guy is into you but won't say it, his friends already know. You might notice little nudges, glances, smirks, or inside jokes when you're around. That's because they've seen how he acts when you're not there, and how different he becomes when you are. His behavior changes when you're in the room, and people around him pick up on that shift even if he tries to play it cool. This change in behavior might not be consistent, but that's the point. He doesn't always know how to manage his reactions when you're nearby. He might be warm one moment, withdrawn the next. That inconsistency isn't a sign he's playing games. It's proof that he's overwhelmed by feelings he hasn't figured out how to process yet. What matters most is the pattern. When a man acts noticeably different, when you're around, whether it's more confident, more awkward, or more focused. He's responding to you emotionally. Your presence matters to him more than he lets on, and while he may never say those words out loud, his behavior has already made it clear. Next, we'll talk about the most important part, what you should actually do when you notice these signs. Because now that you know he wants you but won't admit it, the next move is yours. So you've been paying close attention, and you've noticed the signs, the subtle shifts, the hidden signals, the moments when his body language, his words, or his actions betray feelings he won't admit out loud. Now what? What do you actually do with all this information? How do you move forward without scaring him off or putting too much pressure on the situation? First, take a deep breath and remember that these signs are just clues, pieces of a puzzle. They don't mean he's ready to declare his feelings or jump into a relationship tomorrow. What they do mean is that there's potential there, that he's interested even if he's scared or unsure about showing it. Your role now is create space where those feelings can grow safely. Start by matching his energy in subtle ways. If he's a little shy or reserved, don't overwhelm him with big declarations. Instead, respond with warmth, a genuine smile, or small encouraging touches. Make it clear that you're approachable, that you enjoy his company, and that you're open to deeper connection without forcing it. Pay attention to his comfort levels. If he leans into conversations, asks questions, or laughs more around you, those are green lights. Encourage those moments. But if he pulls away, gets quiet, or seems nervous, give him space. Sometimes people need time to sort out their feelings before they can fully open up. Another important thing is to be authentic. Don't pretend to be someone you're not just to get his attention. Attraction that lasts comes from genuine connection. Let him see the real you, flaws, quirks, passions, and all. When you do that, it lowers his guard too. Vulnerability breeds vulnerability. If you feel brave enough and the timing feels right, you can gently test the water. Maybe drop a casual compliment or ask him how he really feels about something you've shared. Watch how he reacts, not just with words but with body language. Does he relax? Does he meet your eyes? Those little responses can tell you a lot about where he's at emotionally. Remember, patience is key. If he's been holding back, it's often because he's afraid of losing what you already have. Friendship, trust, comfort. Rushing him or demanding clarity can backfire. Instead, build trust slowly, create moments of connection, and let him see that opening up won't threaten what you share. It will deepen it. Lastly, trust your intuition. You know him better than anyone else. If your gut says he wants you but is scared, listen to it. And if it says you're not feeling the same way, that's okay too. These signs don't obligate you to feel a certain way, they're just tools to help you understand the situation better. So to sum it up, notice the signs, respond with kindness and authenticity. Give space when needed, and be patient. When the time is right, feelings that have been hiding in silence will find a way to come out. And when that happens, you'll both be ready to face it together. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into relationship secrets like this. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or questions. I love hearing your story. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to breathe it all in. You've just uncovered some of the most subtle, hidden signs that a man wants you badly, even when he won't say it out loud. These aren't flashy gestures or dramatic declarations. They're quiet, sometimes confusing, but incredibly powerful clues that reveal what's really going on beneath the surface. The truth is, attraction is rarely simple. It's messy, complicated, and often wrapped in layers of fear, pride, and vulnerability, especially for men who have been taught to hide their feelings. So when you notice these signs, it's important to be patient and compassionate, not only with him, but also with yourself. Relationships don't start with perfect clarity. They grow from understanding and trust. Your next steps should be gentle but intentional. Now that you know what to look for, you can tune in more deeply to his behavior and your own feelings. Keep paying attention to those little moments when he lets his guard down, and use those to build a connection that feels safe and real. Remember, it's about quality, not quantity. Sometimes one small sign is worth more than 1,000 empty words. If you're wondering how to move forward, start by fostering open communication, but on your terms. You don't have to rush into heavy conversations or confess your feelings first. Instead, create an environment where sharing feels natural. This could be through light-hearted chats, shared experiences, or just spending more time together in ways that feel comfortable for both of you. Also, keep your boundaries clear. Just because someone shows interest doesn't mean you have to say yes right away. Trust your instincts and honor your feelings. If something feels off or you're not ready, that's perfectly okay. Attraction is only one piece of the puzzle. Respecting yourself is the foundation for any healthy relationship. One last thing to remember, sometimes even when you recognize the signs and want to act on them, life doesn't move on your schedule. People grow at different paces, and sometimes the timing isn't right. That doesn't mean it's the end. It means you have time to grow, to learn, and to prepare for something better. So stay patient, stay curious, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. When the moment is right, and when both of you feel safe enough to open up, those hidden feelings won't need to hide anymore. They'll come out loud and clear, and you'll both be ready to embrace them. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you understand a little more about the silent language of attraction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos packed with insights just like this. I'd love to hear your stories or questions in the comments below because every journey is unique, and you're not alone on yours. Until next time, keep shining and trusting your heart.